Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to another Golden Nugget with me, Sam, from Elite Life with Sam. Listen, this week I had a really big realization. So, Rich and I went to film a podcast at another local podcaster for Elite Customs. And we walked in and they had all of their shit together. It was so professional. They were just so organized. And I was like, man, this is amazing. And I watched the way that they functioned and they worked and at first I thought, man, I really need to get my shit together. And then I began to realize none of this would work for the ladies that listen to my podcast, my lifestyle, the people that interact with, like none of this is right for me. And it hit me. There are no rules. This is not Monopoly. You don't get handed a piece of paper that says, this is how you have to do things. Listen, some of the most successful and happy people in life are the rebels, the rule breakers. Look at everybody that's sitting on top right now. They're the ones that dared to be different, to do things different. And I'm going to share a little bit of my life and some different points in my life where I chose to do things differently and how it worked out to be the absolute best decisions I ever made. So I think that especially as women, we're predispositioned to following rules to make other people happy, to make other people comfortable. Like, think about it. As a young child, I have always been riddled with ADHD. Now, listen, I was born in the 80s, grew up in the 90s in conservative small town America where ADHD wasn't really bought into a lot. And so I had to learn to function in a neurotypical world as a spicy little chicken nugget. So in kindergarten, my teachers had the hardest time keeping me in my desk. I would want to get up, stand in my chair, tell stories to the classroom. They actually thought that I had a learning disability because when they would grab my papers, they would just be scribbled, like blacked out scribbled. I would just take a handful of crayons and scribble until this one brilliant teacher, shout out Miss Edna Howes, put me at her desk. She had me sit right beside her, mostly because she couldn't keep me in my seat otherwise. But she began to watch the way that I did my schoolwork, and I would fly through it because I learn at an incredibly rapid pace if I'm interested in it. And I would fly through my schoolwork, and then I would sit there for maybe a second or two and get bored. And so I would grab a handful of crayons and begin to just terrorize my paper with all of these colors that didn't make sense. And she had this aha moment of she's not behind, she's ahead. And so she began to just switch out my schoolwork super fast and give me advanced schoolwork. And by the end of kindergarten, I was doing first grade schoolwork. And so I began to realize then she gave me permission to not do things the way that my classmates did things. I could so-called break the rules. So in high school, thank God I had a parent that was okay with me taking my education into my own hands. I decided that organized school wasn't really for me. And I decided to withdraw myself from public high school and went into homeschool. And so at that point, I was able to do 4 years of high school in 2 years while working multiple jobs. And so by the age of 17, I was extremely independent and was kind of living life on my own terms and figuring out what I was going to do with my future. You know, was I going to pick a career and go headlong into it? Was I going to go into, was I going to pick a college and go to a college? I could go into cosmetology school. Like I had all of these different options in front of me. And I just decided that I wanted to take some time to get to know me and live life, and decided that college just wasn't for me. And so I gave myself permission to not follow the societal rules necessarily that all of my peers were following. And at 37, now I sit here and I look back on my life and I think, I am so glad that I didn't force a square peg into a round hole, because it would have been the death of me. I would have been trying to fit myself into a place that I really wasn't fit for. I was born to do things differently. And I never looked back. And I have to say, I've lived a lot of different lives in 37 short years. And it makes me really excited to think what the next 37 years are going to hold for me. I've had multiple businesses. I've met the coolest freaking people. I have been able to learn different industries and pursue things that interest me. And so, if that's how you feel, I'm giving you permission. It doesn't matter what age you are, where you're at, what's going on in your life. You don't have to follow the rules. You can pursue things that light your soul on fire, that make you happy, that spark an interest in you, and then it's okay to just put it down. You don't have to stick with it just because you started with it. Another thing, another area where I have decided to break all the rules, apparently, unbeknownst to me, was co-parenting. Me and my stepwife have created so many waves on social media and in our personal lives, like in our small groups. Even our family members look at us kind of sideways in the beginning and we're like, what the hell are you guys doing? Because we decided that we were going to co-parent differently. When society says that, co-parenting largely has to be toxic and riddled with drama, we decided to do things totally differently. We decided that we were going to get to know each other on a personal level. Take the kids out of the equation, take the ex-husband out of the equation. Who were we as humans, as women, as people? And we decided we kind of freaking like each other. And we decided to just pursue a friendship. And now she's one of my absolute best friends. And we do life together as one big family. And she supports me and I support her. And, we've gotten to know each other just as women. And so by breaking those quote unquote rules, because it might make somebody else feel uncomfortable that she was married to the guy that I'm married to now, and she, we share a kid, and she, whatever the case is, we didn't give a shit. We were going to live life on our own terms. And it ended up working out because her stepson is my business partner in the podcast, and it's the greatest decision I ever made. But had Holly and I been at odds, none of this would be possible. We wouldn't have the absolute beautiful, fulfilled, inspiring life that we have. And the last story that I'm going to leave you guys with is how I came to be at Elite Customs. Now, I've told this story before, but if you've never heard it, I had no business being in the aftermarket custom world. I kind of jokingly say I married into it, but it's true. I didn't even have tinted windows when I met Rich in 2018, but he introduced me to this industry and I absolutely fell in love with it. And I dove headfirst into educating myself and learning everything I could about it because it interested me. There's that ADHD flag waving again. But because of that, I learned how to do things differently in the custom world. So, the custom world is largely male dominated, if not completely male dominated. You'll see some women in and out, but usually they're in receptionist roles or they're car models. Now, listen, I got nothing against either one of those. Your girl is never going to be a car model, though. She wasn't built like that. She's built like a big toe. However, we celebrate all female representation in this industry. But when I stepped in here, I started seeing hey, there's actually a lot of holes in this industry, and I think that our business can do things differently. Now, let me tell you something. I caught a lot of shit from this industry because I thought we need to be marketing to people who wouldn't feel comfortable walking through the doors of a custom shop. And that is minority communities, LGBTQ communities, female market. And so 2.5 years ago, we decided, and thankfully, I have a spouse that buys into my harebrained ideas. And we decided to begin marketing to those people. Like, why would you market a custom shop to people who already get customs done? They're done. They're our clients already. We don't have to do much. But we wanted the people that maybe would never feel comfortable in a place like this. So first thing we did, we don't have a showroom. Knocked that out completely. Turned it into a luxury waiting area. We don't have salespeople. If you don't install it, you don't sell it. How are you supposed to sell something that you don't know the functionality of it, or if it's even possible to put in or on the car? So all of our techs come out and talk to our clients. So we're really particular about the type of person that we hire to work in the shop. We have a team of women up front, and we handle everything from productions to client relationships to cold calling, working with dealerships, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And what we found is this industry in the beginning was really adverse to talking to women. I can't tell you how many times it was, let me talk to the owner. I'm like, dude, I'm an owner here. No, let me talk to the guy. So it took a little bit of time for our local market to catch on to what we were doing, but once they figured out that the clientele was there, we built it and they came, then they started buying into it. So listen, here's the thing. If you do what's always been done, you'll get what you've always got. Does that make sense? You're never going to get anything different in your life unless you go against the norm. You go against the grain and you break some of the rules. So, right now, whatever you're doing, start thinking, what are some rules made up or whatever that you've began to follow in your life that don't make any sense? They're just requirements that have been put on you. What are those rules that if you broke them, you wouldn't get a natural consequence? Like, of course, if you go down the road and you speed, you're going to get a speeding ticket. Why? Because you endanger yourself and others. That's a law. That is not a made-up rule. What are some rules today that you've been abiding by that are making you absolutely miserable? Like buying into the lie that you have to work a 9 to 5 to be successful. No, you don't. That's been proven time and time again. Or that you have to choose between being a successful businesswoman and being a mom. You can do both. Matter of fact, some of the most successful businesswomen are moms. Or that you have to be a mom. No, you don't. You don't have to have kids. Who told you you have to have kids? So I want you to start writing these down. What are some rules that you're following that you don't necessarily need to be following? Write them down, and then I want you to go home, read over this list, and burn that bitch. That's right. We're burning the rule book, ladies. We're having another bra burning, if you will. Go home, burn that rule book, and never look back. And then I want you to report back to me, what are some rules that you are committing to breaking, going against, letting go, leaving it right where they are. Anyways, ladies, I don't really know how to end this podcast, but I hope that this inspired you to make some changes in your life. And until next time, see ya.